Great. Thank you very much for being here at 1 Million Cups, Missoula. There will be no more beatboxing or rapping, but I'm really glad you're here to help us percolate the entrepreneurial community in Missoula, Montana. So this morning, I'm just going to introduce our first speaker. We're going to roll right into it. So I actually spent a little time going over your website this morning. I'm excited to introduce Patrick Claytor.
Yes.
Claytor. Patrick Claytor from Quilty Box. And what a fun business, and one of the best business models, in my opinion, that you can have, and that's a subscription-based business. So Patrick, I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to give it to you. I will remind you of the rules. We have 6 minutes to present. Look over this way for the timer. And at 6 minutes, we will honk a big horn and stop you.
Okay.
And we won't. But there'll be time to wrap it up, and then we're going to have Q&A for about 20 minutes and see if we can connect resources in the community with you.
All right.
Patrick.
That works for me.
Great.
I'll just sort of, when you have 2 minutes left, I'll just sort of go like this.
Okay.
And then when you have 1 minute left, I'll just sort of go like that.
All right.
Just kind of discreetly.
Awesome. Discreetly in the corner. All right. Thanks a lot for the introduction, Sid, and thank you guys for being here to listen to me explain my business, and hopefully we can help each other. I'm Patrick Claytor, the owner of Quilty Box, and we help quilters get quilty. We're a subscription box company that supplies quilters with a box that's a surprise box each month of fun products that they can use to hone in their quilting skills. So my story starts a few years ago. I kind of realized I wanted something for myself and build something for myself. I wasn't getting the proper joy out of my day job, so to speak. So I started looking around for business ideas or brainstorming business ideas. I went to Startup Missoula and looking at businesses that were for sale. And each time I analyzed a business, I was honing in on what I really wanted out of business. I wanted something that had a decent market size, something that I can do from home, and something that would help people in a meaningful way. The way I went about purchasing Quilty Box was a little oxymoronic part of the story. I was looking for a gift for my mother, who is a quilter, and we subscribed to Bark Box, which is a box for dog toys and treats and everything. So I was looking for the Bark Box of the quilting world. And the only company that I found was Quilty Box. And unfortunately, or fortunately, it was out of business and had been closed for about a year. So I looked at the subscription box model in the past and knew that it was a pretty viable model. I emailed the owner, and then I Facebooked her a couple weeks later, and finally she got back to me. She was receptive to the idea of a buyout. And so in March of this year, I purchased the brand and a small list of past customers. So I was looking for a box for my mom that I wouldn't have to think of exactly which products to get her. And in the end, I bought a company that I have to think of exactly which products to put in the box every month. But it's been wonderful. I grew up around quilting. I have quilts that mark every milestone in my life. I have a quilt for my wedding, for my high school graduation, for my college graduation, for my wife's college graduation. They're all hanging in our house or on our beds. So I know the time and care that it takes to go into making a quilt, and I've really enjoyed learning more about the quilting industry and helping quilters expand their stash of products and fabric, and also learn new techniques that they can use. I've also connected with a dozen or so bloggers who have helped promote Quilty Box and who've given invaluable feedback about what we can do to be better. So let me talk about what is a Quilty Box and how we help the brands and the subscribers. This is our October box, and each box that we send out is the same for that month. This one was curated by Angela Walters, who's a designer, quilter, and teacher from Missouri. And each month we have a curator that helps us pick out the products in the box. So we have a book that she co-authored. We have a template that she helped design, some thread, and pieces of her latest fabric line that was released this past month. And every box has a card that explains about the curator, and then it explains about the products in the box. So the benefit to Angela for doing the box is to get her products and her blog and teaching classes in front of a large audience. The benefit to our subscribers is learning about Angela and her techniques and the products in the box, getting some of her fabric for a pretty good price, and then also learning about the template company. This template company is in Virginia. They manufacture everything in the US. It's a small company that started about a year ago. Eric, the owner, emailed me and said, hey, I'd like to have the products in the box. And so I connected him with Angela, And they designed that template that he created for us. He can do one-off products, or he can do an entire run of products like he did for us. He can take any paper pattern and turn it into an acrylic template. This is more accurate for the quilter, and also it lasts a lot longer. So the subscriber can find new products and possibly use Eric in the future, and Eric gets a large audience for his products. So cost is $48, between $44 and $48 depending on the plan, and we guarantee that there's $50 worth of product in the box, and this is getting better as we're working closer with our wholesalers to get better than wholesale pricing. And not everything that you need to create a quilt is in the box, but it's a really good start. Of the boxes that we sent, we started sending them in June. We packed 75 in our living room, and I told my wife if we had 300 subscribers by the end of the year, it'd be a great success. We currently stand at 900 subscribers. So it's been really good. We've sent to all 50 states and about a dozen foreign countries. We have, in the US, we have a market of quilters of 21 million people that quilt. Of that, 1 million of them are dedicated quilters, which are those that spend more than $600 in quilting products every year. So we have a lot of room to grow. And a couple weeks ago, I actually quit my day job to work on it full time, so no success. So in the end, I feel like I've found a business that has a decent market size, that I can work from home at it, and that I'm helping a lot of people in a lot of beneficial ways. We also donate 5% of our quilting, of our profits of our multi-month subscriptions to Quilts for Kids, which is an organization that helps donates quilts to children with terminal illnesses and life-threatening illnesses. So I grew up with quilts and know the comfort of the quilt beyond just the warmth that it provides. So I'm really happy to get back to that. So yeah. So I'd like to open it up for questions and answers.
That's great. Who's got the first question for Patrick? I will ask the first question. How's that?
Okay.
I was just scanning, and I want to see on which social media channels are really good for you. I see you're on Pinterest. You mentioned Instagram, but where do you guys focus your energy, or do you let your audience tell you which direction you need to go?
We're kind of focusing on Facebook and Instagram right now, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks, as I find more time, focus on Instagram and Pinterest. Pinterest is kind of the one I don't know a lot about, but has our market segment is using Pinterest a lot. So.
Yeah.
Hi, I'll start this question by saying I don't know much about quilting.
Okay.
But are you offering different subscriptions? So there's, depending on the rate that people quilt, is there a monthly subscription? Can you get like a once every 2 month subscription? Have you experimented with any of that type of testing?
Yeah. The platform we are on has the ability for a subscriber to log into their account and skip the next renewal date. So if they wanted to skip a box, if they had too much fabric and stuff, they could skip a box and then continue on 2 months later. But we don't have anything that's a quarterly box or that. Hopefully in the future, sometime next year, we're going to start releasing complete kits for quilts. So you'll have like the Valentine's Quilty box, which will be everything you need to create a Valentine's quilt. And we'll release that a couple months before Valentine's so they can create the quilt for Valentine's. Yes, ma'am.
Does your platform have room to speed it up, like for the real quilt addicts to say, I want one, I want another one? I want one of the special ones.
Yeah, that's why we're doing special boxes, because those would be above and beyond the normal subscription. So they get a box every month, and if they want something other than that, they can purchase the one-time products as well.
Is it easy to buy someone else's subscription?
It is. You can go in and give a gift. You type in their address, their shipping address, and our gift subscriptions are actually auto-renewing as well. So it will notify you when your gift is complete, and it'll ask you if you want to purchase another term for them.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm guessing also then as you're starting to put these specialty quilt boxes together that someone could come in and just buy them as like a one-off also, like I could just buy the new baby quilt box, or I could buy the wedding quilt box.
Yes, ma'am.
And those will come not just with the fabric and the templates, but maybe more extensive directions and stuff like that?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do your members communicate on your website with each other? So do they kind of share tips, and are you creating a quilting community online?
We are using the social media. On the website, there's no aspect of that. However, there's a lot of people that post the unboxing videos on YouTube. They post the unboxing pictures on Instagram, and they also post projects that they've made using the materials in the box on Instagram, usually. We have one blogger that's been doing the Quilty Box Challenge, so every month she opens the box and creates something from the products in the box. That's been a really great thing for us, so our subscribers can watch those videos and see her thought process in creating something. So gives them more ideas and tips.
I'm kind of interested to hear the story about inheriting customers from a business that went out of business and kind of what that looked like. So how you communicated with them to say, hey, we're back. Is that kind of how it went?
That's exactly how it went. We had an email list of about 250 past subscribers. And the way the business was before, it was only open for 3 months. So she took subscriptions for 3 months, and she had a lot of prepaid plans as well. And then she stopped taking new subscribers. So throughout 2014, she just fulfilled those subscriptions that she had. So people had been getting communication from her pretty regularly. So when we came in 4 or 5 months after that, it wasn't too much of a surprise to them. So they were actually pretty receptive. So we did a pre-sale for about a month and a half before we actually shipped our first box. Yep.
Cool. I want to ask you to talk about your marketing a little bit, but start with, you mentioned that, I don't remember how many customers you had at first, but you said, boy, if we can get to 300 by the end of the year, that'd be great, and you've tripled that. So
Yep.
I'd like to hear about how you did that and what where you put most of your marketing heat.
Yeah. The biggest benefit to us is the bloggers that help promote us. We send them free boxes every month, and they usually do an unboxing blog post on their website. So that has gotten the word out quite regularly. And then we do paid Facebook advertising. And that's not been as successful as just giving boxes away to bloggers. But that's the main way. And we had one blogger that has a very large following. She writes for magazines and everything. And that was in between June and July, we went from 75 to 250 subscribers. And her blog alone was about 100 to 150 of those subscribers. This month, we also have a large jump because the person that's curating our November box has a huge YouTube following. And it's a little bit of double-edged sword. I'm hoping that we don't get into a roller coaster of getting a bunch of 1 month subscriptions and then people canceling because they buy the box just because of the curator. But we've got a lot of feedback from her audience as well. I think you were first.
Now that you figured out the sourcing with what it takes to put these things in a box, is there going to be like a get nitty and, are you going to take on different variations of your products?
I don't think so. I think we'll stick within the quilt niche. There's already a knit box. They call it yarn box. And that has a pretty large following as well, and they're doing a great job. So I don't want to step on their toes or compete with them.
So I want to go back to the point you made around having blogger coverage and the concern about having one-off purchases versus long-term subscriptions.
Yep.
Do you have, or are you tracking what your membership churn is?
Yeah.
And
It's about 11%.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's exciting.
Yeah. We have about $160 of revenue per customer, and our average subscription is 90 to 100 days, and that's gone down from 110 days and $170 just because of the 1 month, the high volume of 1 month subscriptions that we've had this month.
Okay, so I have 2 questions for you. The first one is if you're allowed to talk about what kind of software are you using to manage all of this monthly subscription, skip a month. It's obviously tracking ratios, churn, other things, because you're, and I would like to commend you on the fact that you not only have a software that probably does that, but you know the answers to those questions. So nice job. So I'm interested to know that because I think that's probably applicable over multiple business platforms in here, not just an arts and crafts type one. My other question relates to what we've been talking about again with the bloggers, which I think is brilliant. Have you been able to organize all of them under like a shared hashtag or something like that, so that even though it's on across multiple Instagram accounts or multiple YouTube accounts, that people can search for those things under hashtag Quilty Box or hashtag Get Quilty, and maybe talk a little bit about keeping all of those different disciples unified?
So for the first question, we are on the Cratejoy platform, and it's a startup specifically for subscription box companies. It's a web platform, and we just have a template from them. So they run all the renewals, all the account management, the product management. It connects with ShipStation, which is our shipping software. So it tells ShipStation who's getting the boxes this month. So it all works pretty seamlessly. They're out of Austin, Texas. Cratejoy. Cratejoy. Yep. For the second question, we're using the hashtags #QuiltyBox and #GetQuilty. And most of our bloggers are hashtagging those pretty regularly. To keep them kind of focused, every time we send a box, we send them an email saying, hey, your free box is on the way. This is kind of the bullet points of our company and our value proposition. And we hope you share it on social media. And if you don't share it, at least give us feedback on it. And they do a pretty good job of keeping our message consistent.
And then do you have those hashtag streams on your website?
Not yet.
Widget reader or something?
Not yet. We're working on version 2 of our website, which will have that. Yep. Yes, sir.
So is there a ship date for every month?
Mm-hmm.
Does it all go out to every customer at the same time?
It does.
That's question one. And then the other question is at what time of the month do you stop your subscription so that you have enough product to put in the box, especially if you're doing like a specific template that you created for this box?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know how much to have?
That's a good business problem, and that's one I enjoy working on. We ship on the 11th or around the 11th of every month. So this month, the 11th was Sunday, so we didn't ship on Monday because it was Columbus Day, so we ended up shipping on Tuesday. We shipped the international boxes about a week earlier to give them time to get there. And we ship the bloggers' boxes the same time we ship the international boxes. So they have a few days to create their content. So that was the first question. The second question was, we stop subscriptions on the 10th. So actually, if you sign up on the 10th, you get the October box. We ship it on October 11th. And the way we project that is our average daily new subscribers. And we just put in a purchase order to buy that much product, and we get it hopefully 2 or 3 weeks before the ship date, so that our fulfillment center has time to put it all together, and that we have time to actually make sure that we have the product in hand. And so basically, we've just been controlling our growth for that, for what we've already pre-purchased. In the quilting world, ordering a lot of one product is kind of unheard of. So we've had to work with our suppliers and everybody months beforehand. I think it was July that we ordered our December fabric, and the guy was really nervous that he wouldn't be able to get it completed. So the fabric is a big part because the manufacturing companies actually create cuts of fabric, so 10 by 10 squares of every pattern in a collection, and that they do with huge machines that hopefully we'll have one day in the future. The fabric here, this is 4 cuts of 4 different patterns, and we actually cut these ourselves at our house, so we cut 3,200 of these. So my arm was sore for a little while. So it's not necessarily manufacturing the fabric, it's getting the fabric cut into the pre-cut sizes that we would like.
When you said you cut that yourself, the image in my head was you and your wife with little second grade scissors going, oh my gosh, can we get a better machine?
Yeah, we had rotary cutters, and we'd sit down and watch Sunday Night Football and cut fabric. So, yeah.
Very good. All right, you've already had growth that was more than you anticipated by this time of the year. On your website or on your Facebook, you said, we're open for subscriptions and we can handle as many as, how scalable are you? And what would be, if you had a flood of orders, where would you have to go, okay, that's enough, we can't do more? What's your limit
Each
now?
month we've planned growth. So in August, we were actually sold out for about a week because we sold out of all the things that we had ordered. This month, I don't think we'll hit sold out, which means December will probably not hit sold out, but I hope we do. So,
Yeah, it's a gift month.
Yep, it is.
Question.
I'm just curious about the bloggers that how did you get connected with them?
Just cold emails. Just emailed them, Facebooked them, said, hey, this is what I'm doing. Would you like to work together in getting the message out? And then about 50% of the bloggers I asked if they would like to curate a box in the future, and most of them said, yeah, that'd be great. So it's the quilting industry has been very receptive to the idea. We've had manufacturers that have called us, huge national manufacturers, international manufacturers that have gotten a hold of us and said, we want to be on your box and we want to help promote your box. So it's been great.
Question and comment. Is your destination to build something to sell off? And what's your timeline for that, if that is? And then start your next wonderful idea?
I hope not to sell it off. I'm not planning on that. I actually want to build something that I can grow and work in and have for quite a while. But if somebody would like to buy it, there's always a price for,
There's always
that.
a price. Everything's for sale.
Yeah.
So maybe an enterprise with a warehouse and some of the equipment you talked about and employees and really scaling it.
Yeah, we were hoping next year to bring the fulfillment into Missoula. We currently fulfill it out of Portland, Oregon. The lines of working with the third-party fulfillment company, the communication's not always there, and they're not as concerned to quality as we are. This past month, we've had a few, maybe 10 boxes that didn't have the template in there. So I've had to take those templates and mail them off, which has created a lot of headache and cost and everything. So I think if we had it in-house, we can do a better quality control job. And then also we can get products in earlier. We can have kind of inventory of those quilt kits and future boxes.
So my other thought, and I can't imagine there isn't anything you haven't thought of, Patrick. You're very savvy.
Thank you.
But the first time I've heard of your business, so I don't know what's online or the community you're building there. But what I know about quilting, it is really about community. So I just want to encourage you, all those stories and hearing you talk about, I have my graduation quilt and my wedding quilt and high school quilt, and having other people share those stories and quilt gatherings, wondering how you're tapping into. I know there's retreats regularly in places where people are gathering that are your purchaser, I would assume.
Yeah.
So the story and the connection and kind of the fleshy part of quilting, what does that look like in your business?
Yeah, the customers have been great. They send, thank yous and, every time I see the shipping notice, it's like Christmas is coming every month. So those stories, my story is on our About page, and those stories we're hoping to incorporate into the new website that we're designing. As far as getting into quilt retreats and being part of the community, we actually have done that a little bit by accident. Sometimes we've shipped out 2 boxes, or someone had a duplicate subscription and they didn't know it. So we've refunded their order and took care of it, and they say, do you want me to ship the box back? And we say, no, just take it to your quilt guild and give it away as a raffle or other items. So we've had maybe 2 or 3 of those a month where we just have random people taking them to retreats or their quilt guild and saying, this is this box that I got, and we're going to raffle it off or donate it. This weekend, actually, my wife and I are going to the International Quilt Market in Houston, and that's the industry trade show that happens twice a year. And so we'll meet a lot of the people we've been working with online, and then we'll be able to meet more suppliers and more marketing directors and those types of people. Yeah.
Okay, so just to go off of what Karen was asking, as you figure out an online forum, whether it's through a Facebook group or some sort of plug-in on your website, do you have people finding each other in the same town and getting together and like opening their quilty boxes at once and swapping, saying, what should we make out of our quilty box this month, or what are you making? Because I grew up with quilting circles, like my mom's church group. We always made a quilt for the next baby and the next wedding, and now all my children have quilts that my mother made, and so part of for me was like being the 9-year-old doing the first stitch, or my mom and her friends swapping fabric. So I guess I'm going one step further with what Karen was asking, and like not mandating it, but encouraging quilty boxers in the same town to find themselves. Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, I think.
Or a thought? Is that interesting to you?
It is interesting. We've had I had one subscriber email me this past month and say, hey, I had my quilting friend over just to open the box. So there are people that are doing that. But it's not a large coordinated effort by any means. So.
And then the final question, and then we'll wrap up, is we like to always ask, what can 1 Million Cups do for you to help you?
I think there's 3 things, actually. The social media marketing is something that I struggle with. So if anybody has any ideas on ad spend and that type of stuff, targeting, marketing. And the second thing is fulfillment. If anybody has experience packing and shipping a large quantity of items, I'd like to hear that, because as we'll probably speed up the amount or speed up the time that we're going to be purchasing our own warehouse or renting our own warehouse. So hopefully by the end of the year we'll have that under our house. And then the third thing is to donate to Quilts for Kids. Not everybody is a quilter, not everybody can create a quilt, but everybody can have a part in creating a quilt by donating and getting a quilt to a kid. Yes, ma'am.
Have you thought about talking with Opportunity Resources as a fulfillment? Pardon?
Yeah.
Fulfillment partner.
Fulfillment.
Yeah,
Mhm.
fulfillment partner.
I had that suggestion in the past, and so now that I've had it twice, I'll look more into it.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Patrick. Please take your 1 million cup swag.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sid.
Thanks very much.